Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something a bit different. A whole bunch of search terms, basically clues, all pointing towards UFC 314.
Right, like a digital breadcrumb trail left by fans.
Exactly. And our job is to, well, piece together what people were really searching for, what they were most interested in about this event.
It gives you a pretty direct insight into the fan mindset, what information they need right now.
Okay, let's jump in. First off, the main event. Wow. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. It's everywhere in these terms.
Oh, yeah. You see Volkanovski versus Lopes, Lopes versus Volkanovski, the full names, Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes, even Volk versus Diego Lopes.
It's clearly the big one. That featherweight title fight was definitely the main draw.
And the mix of names is interesting, isn't it? You get the formal stuff and then the nicknames. Suggests a wide audience.
Yeah, from the hardcore fans maybe to the more casual viewers just tuning in for the headliner.
Precisely.
And Volkanovski himself, huge interest. Just searches for Volkanovski, Alex Volkanovski. They pop up a lot.
Often paired with UFC featherweight champion or, featherweight UFC champion. His status clearly matters.
That championship belt really pulls people in, doesn't it?
Absolutely. People actively look for the champ. It underlines how important that title is.
Now, Diego Lopes. He also got a lot of attention. We saw loads of searches for Diego Lopes.
And even that common misspelling, Diego Lopez.
Right, and things like Lopes UFC, Diego Lopes UFC. And this one, where is Diego Lopes from?
Yeah. That suggests people were intrigued, maybe didn't know him as well, wanted his backstory.
Seems like it. A rising star getting that big title shot. People wanted to learn more, definitely.
It shows he made an impression. Being in that high-profile spot generated real curiosity.
Okay, moving beyond the fighters. How to actually watch the thing. That was massive.
Always is for these big events.
Yeah, I mean, UFC streams, UFC stream free, UFC 314 stream, UFC 314 free stream, UFC 314 live stream.
Plus the practical ones. Watch UFC 314, how to watch UFC tonight, where to watch UFC.
Right, and where to watch UFC for free, alongside the official ways like SPM Plus and UFC PPV. Access was clearly a major concern.
It really highlights that, constant search for viewing options. The media landscape keeps changing, and fans adapt. They explore all the avenues.
And the basics, can't forget those. UFC 314 start time.
Crucial.
And UFC 314 location, plus the more general, where is the UFC fight tonight? Simple logistics, but always highly searched.
Yep, fundamental details. You need to know when and where if you're planning to tune in. Event organizers definitely pay attention to how easily people find this info.
But it wasn't only about Volk and Lopes. Lots of interest in the whole card.
That's good to see.
Yeah, UFC fight card, UFC 314 fight card, UFC card tonight. People wanted the full lineup.
And you saw UFC main card and UFC prelims too, so they're looking at the different segments.
It shows a deeper engagement, right? More than just the absolute main event, an appreciation for the whole night of fights.
Yeah, a healthy sign for the sport, I think. Fans invested in the broader picture.
Okay, so the fights happen, then what? The results. Immediately.
UFC results tonight.
UFC today. UFC fight results. UFC 314 results. Who won UFC 314?
Always a big spike. Who won the UFC fight tonight? UFC 314 scorecards. People want the details.
And UFC 314 highlights, too. Gotta see the key moments.
It's that real-time fandom, isn't it? The need for instant updates, instant gratification. That's the digital age.
Totally. And finally, just quickly, there were those broader context searches.
Right, connecting it to the wider MMA world.
Things like featherweight UFC, just the division, UFC weight classes, itself. Also sites like Sherdog or forums like UFC Reddit UFC.
And other fighter names popping up sometimes. Islam Makhachev, Max Holloway, Mufsar Evloev, even unrelated records like Paddy Pimblett record or Patricio Pitbull record, and Dumas UFC.
It shows how one big event like UFC 314 doesn't exist in a vacuum. It pulls in interest across the board, from casual lookups to, hardcore fans tracking everything.
Exactly. It draws in that whole spectrum.
So, wrapping it up, if you look at all these searches, the big themes are pretty clear. The main event, especially Volkanovski and Lopes, then how to watch it, and finally, the results.
That's the core of it. It's a direct window into what grabbed the fans' attention for UFC 314.
So here's something to think about. Why do certain fighters or specific matchups generate such intense search activity? What's really driving fans to dig into this information online? Maybe something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.